Hello and welcome to GPTV on Tuesday the 30th of April. My name is Philip Kingston.
And I'm Gary Peer.
And Gary, here we are on this magnificent autumn morning, filming outside at 397 Glen Ira Road, Caulfield North, which is the most spectacular home, a brand new home just developed, and we opened it for inspection on the weekend and we were swamped with numbers. But
surprised.
I do want to talk about autumn, Gary, because it is my favourite season in Melbourne.
Why is that?
And as the trees are losing their leaves, the property market's heating up, Gary. Who would have thought we'd be well into autumn and doing the sort of numbers with the sort of percentage clearance rate that we're doing at the moment?
Indeed, it was a very busy weekend. Quite a wordsmith there, Philip, talking about the
stumbling over my words.
The beautiful seasons. I didn't know you had that much depth. It is a very exciting time in the market, Phil. We've had a busy weekend, 18 auctions, and we sold 13 out of 18, which was pretty good, Phil.
Pretty good, and I reckon we're going to sell one of them today, which will give us 14.
And there's another two.
There's a two in the wings, which could possibly get us to 16 out of 18 by tomorrow.
But that's speculation, isn't it?
It is speculation.
It's not fact
yet,
no.
And we like to give you the facts. So
facts.
13 out of 18, I think, is a 72% clearance rate. No doubt somebody will check those numbers.
Against the industry rate of?
About 72%. So we were right on average.
Fair enough.
Mind you, I don't think there's anything average about you, Gary.
Thanks, Philip. That's very kind to hear you say that. There was a lot of action out there, and some of the auctions that we did have brought some surprise results, Philip. One of those we talked about on GPTV last week was in Adrian Street in Bentley East. Tell us about that one.
Well, I did the auction there, Gary, and I've got to tell you, I confessed to all of the people at the auction that I hadn't seen it before in real life. I'd seen all the photographs online, I'd studied the property closely online, so I knew what I was going to say about the property when I auctioned it. Having said that, I got there and I was completely blown away about how good it was. So I had to rejig my spiel. Not that I had an issue with that, because my spiel was talking about how great it was. I took it to the next level. We had some seriously competitive bidding, Gary. We had a reserve there, I think. 815, and we travelled all the way to 855. Interesting, Gary, the buyer was from North Caulfield.
There you go.
So great to see that our agency is able to move premium buyers down to our Bentley properties. So that was a really good result.
While you were there in East Bentley, Philip, I was in Elstonwick in St George's Road, one of my favourite streets.
One of the best streets in Elstonwick.
It is, arguably the best street. It and Elizabeth. Photo finish for first. This was a beautiful apartment. We got there and the vendors gave us a reserve. They said, look, 580, is that okay? Is it a bit high? And we said, look, let's see how we go, because most of our interest we thought was in that sort of 5 to 550 range. Anyway, lo and behold, it went on the market, flew, and ended up selling for $654,000.
Wow.
Very popular.
Almost,
there was 5 or 6
That's more than 10% over the reserve.
It was a very, very big result, and well done to Adam who handled that. And our vendor was just about, it was very emotional, very, very excited. So I know it meant a lot to her, so I'm really pleased for her as well.
Well, you were doing that. I think I moved on from Bentley to a semi in Kieran Street in Caulfield South.
You did, yep.
That was another competitive auction. We had a reserve there of $700,000. That just flew when it was on the market all the way to $737,000, I believe. One of the great things about that auction was we sold it to one of our vendors that had just sold an apartment on Hawthorne Road. So really great to see our team moving our buyers around. That vendor had sold an apartment, moving up to the next thing, which was a semi, which he's going to renovate. They're going to renovate. So really good result there. The theme again this weekend, Gary, and we'll talk about our Sunday results in a moment, but the theme again is multiple bidders at auction.
That was not happening last year.
Look, this time last year, we would be passing in a lot of properties, selling them to one buyer after the auction. The number of properties we've had in the last couple of months where we've announced them on the market, on the day, sold them under the hammer, with not just 2 bidders, but 3 and 4. So that is the theme, viewers. The theme is there is a competitive market taking place.
Get out there, the market's back. We sold the last remaining unit, Philip, at auction in Burran Road, on that project on the corner of Burran Road and Karawina Road. You auctioned that one, got passed in, but we sold it shortly thereafter.
And what a successful development that's been, a new development for Caulfield South, 18 apartments. Congratulations really do go to Glenn Bricker, who was responsible for handling that project. Did a great job because that is now sold out. So another successful Gary Peer & Associates project marketing venture.
And funnily enough, I don't want to sound narky or nasty, but a few other agents hopped in the project over the time.
Oh, that is nasty. That is nasty and narky, but who were they?
Yeah, I won't say that. But anyway, it was good. Glenn was the man. So well done, Glenn. Great work. The other auction that we want to talk about that we reviewed last week was in Wattleshare Road, in the heart of Armidale, Philip.
Yes, Gary.
Around where you live.
I do live around...
The hoi polloi of Armidale society.
Yes, I do live around there, and that was in Wattleshare Road, Armidale,
Yes.
walking distance to the Melbourne Central Shopping
Yes, I
Centre.
think Jeremy auctioned,
Glenferrie
and I
Road.
think,
reserve there was 400,000, handled by Darren Krongold, Sally Zellman,
Yep.
and it was on the market at 400, sold for $440,000.
Yep.
Well done to the team there, and well done to Jeremy, who did a great auction there.
Absolutely. Sunday, Philip, we sold in Narrawong Road. The price is undisclosed. We talked about that one, and that, suffice to say, it sold in and around that $1 million mark. But that was also an interesting auction. Had a couple of people who bought it, and in fact, the buyer just saw it on the day for the first time. So you hear
Happens
about
a lot.
those auction stories. They do happen. And
Happens a lot. The buyer actually picked up the PRW Sunday morning, was flicking through our prominent ad, which is the first 5 to 6 pages of that PRW, and looked at that property and said, I'm going to go and have a look at that.
Print media is not dead, is it?
Alive and well, Gary.
I went to see Lior do an auction in William Street in Balaclava, Phil. I love that street. There's lots of interesting Victorian and magnificent period homes. It was a very popular media personality who bought it, and it was absolutely terrific to be able to sell it to them, and they bought a lovely home, and congratulations to the vendor. Probably the last auction to talk about, Phil, is in Hollywood Avenue. You did that one. I went and had a little cup of tea while you were there.
A cup of tea, did you?
Yeah, well, you need to keep your nerve about you. Well, there's one more after that, but tell us about
I'm in a state of shock about Holroyd, Gary. That was just unbelievable. I arrived, look, we knew it was going to go well because we had massive attendances at all of the open for inspections. We'd been marketing that in the high 9s through to the mid 1 millions. We inched that price range up. The vendor, before I started the auction, said to us, look, we'd really love to get $1.1 million. And I thought, gee, that's optimistic. Well, we had a crowd there of about, I don't know, maybe 120, 130 people. 5 bidders. It just flew. There were a couple of people there that were trying to ask difficult questions at the start, Gary, trying to put me and the crowd off. I got to tell you, I love a difficult question at an auction. All it does is it pumps me up, and it actually inspires the crowd. Funnily enough, people think by asking a curly question at an auction, it's going to put people off. I've got to tell you, in my history of doing this, on the occasion somebody tries to ask a curly question, it generally inspires other bidders, not puts them off. Anyway,
you're up for it, aren't you?
Continue to do it because it pumps me up. Anyway, they would have loved to have got 1,100,000.
Yes.
Auction just flew. I didn't go inside to refer it. We sold it for 1,200,000 and... Come on, Gary, stay with the program.
You were there.
259,000. Well, it's such an incredible price. I was going to say 1,260,000. So 1,259,000, $159,000 over what I thought was a very optimistic reserve.
And there you go, ladies and gentlemen.
Huge result.
Auction. So that's that. But before we go, there is another auction. We have an interesting image on screen now. If you have a look at this photo, and you wonder what is relevant about this photo as you're watching it right now. Now, this is an interesting photo because you will see that I have my arms around 2 people, which is nothing wrong with that. And there's another 2 people on the outside, and there's another 2 people on the outside. And this is a house in Ellington Street, Philip. 20 and 22 Ellington Street is in the background of this photo. And what we have is the current vendor. We have the previous vendor, and we even have the vendor before that to build the house. So it's very unusual. I thought it was a great real estate story.
3 generations of owners, Gary.
3 generations of vendors. There is a little bit of space to the left of the photo for the next buyer.
We're still negotiating that sale.
We might have that buyer, if they're watching, just go that little bit extra and get it, because you're not far away from buying. But it was just an interesting real estate story to have the builder, the last buyer, and the immediate owner.
Current owner.
Let's talk about what's happening this week, Phil. It's not
another big weekend. No, it's still a big weekend though.
We've got a big one. Let's talk about some of the sales that are upcoming on GPTV. So, Philip, 13 auctions this weekend. That's certainly not a quiet one.
Not a quiet weekend at all.
Not as busy as I'd like it to be, but still,
it's all right.
Pretty good.
I'm not complaining.
And finishing off Sunday afternoon, by the way, with Carlton Melbourne, the battle of our two teams.
Yes, all the Melbourne supporters that are out there, all three of you that are watching, yeah, we should really go along.
Condolences in advance. Am I arrogant to say that, or would that be?
Do you know what? If you can't win that, then Mickey Malthouse, I'd be giving it up if I was you.
Let's talk about one of the first auctions, Phil, and that is at 7 Shirley Grove, East St Kilda. There it is.
Surely
right
you can't be serious.
Surely I am serious, Philip. That's a fantastic period home. I think Jeremy Rosens has got the honours. Saturday 10:30. Look forward to seeing you there. What do you got for us?
I'm at the same time, Gary, doing, actually a little bit later, I'm doing an auction in Venus Street, number 12 Venus Street, Caulfield South.
It's got it, that house. Baby, it's got it.
That is a really good house because it's a period home on a large block of land, so you can either renovate the house, let it out, or perhaps contemplate a new development.
There is an auction straight after that, Philip, and it is at 11:30 on Saturday. Lior Samuel has the auction honours, and that is at 8 Lock Street, Brighton East. A very affordable property. There's been a bit of interest in this one. We expect it to go well. Have a look down there. Perhaps a good home opportunity in an affordable price bracket or investment. What else you got for us,
Gary? On at 12:30. Gary, at 1:30 on Saturday, I'm doing an auction of a really interesting property, Packington Street, Paran, number 5 Packington Street, Paran. Auctions at 1:30. A period home to renovate, or a major parcel of land with some conceptual plans for the most stunning house with swimming pool.
Daniel Fisher, Darren Krongold, Sally Zellman involved with that one. A big weekend upcoming, Philip. Lots of exciting.
Just want to talk about one very briefly on Sunday, Gary, because it's in a favourite street of mine. We've got apartment number 4 at 8 St Albans Avenue, and that goes to auction on Sunday at 1:30. That's a really good apartment in a small boutique building. It's kind of penthouse living at a very affordable price range, so I'm looking forward to doing that auction.
That is a great street. Not so long ago we sold that home across the road from there, Phil. So that's and that was very, very popular.
It was. So before we go, Gary, let's talk about this fabulous home at 397 Glen Ira Road. If you're in the market for a brand new home, this 4-bedroom magnificent home, complete with huge entertaining areas and this gorgeous north-facing garden. Actually, as I just said north-facing garden. What is it with your eyebrows? Like your eyebrows are like these big bushy eyebrows, like you expect this.
It's wisdom. It's the owl.
I got to tell you, you know, your wife is the most fastidious person. She always looks.
You are the most fastidious.
She always looks unbelievable. I don't know. When she goes out, is she like taking her father out? You've got to do something about your hair
that whole
and these
thing going on.
These bushy eyebrows. Viewers, have a look at his eyebrows. Please send in some comments. Encourage me to make him look his best, because he's actually not a bad-looking guy. He just does everything to disguise it. Thanks again for watching GPTV.
GPTV competition for Philip's physical imperfections.
Tell you what, next week on
Leave me alone.
Next week on GPTV, I'm going to bring in a photo of me from my childhood. I think it's a photograph that the viewers will
get the numbers down.
The viewers will warm to. Thanks again for watching GPTV. Can't wait to see you next week. I'm Philip Kingston. Have a great week.
I'm Gary Peer, about to get a little eyebrow trim. See you next week on GPTV. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.